That Davis Show. I'm your host, Kenneth Davis. Follow me at That's Davis, and I'm lucky enough to be joined by the executive producer of the show, Ryan Bukovetsky. Follow him at Ryan B. Ski and Ryan B. Ski1 on Instagram for the flavor when he gives you. How much flavor are you applying to Instagram right now, Ryan?
Too
Are
much.
you showing
It's
Tempe
always
like
too much flavor.
listen, while we're on this, are you showing people the beauty of Tempe, Arizona on your Instagram account?
Of course not.
Okay, that's great.
What kind of ridiculous question is that?
You have all that flavor out there. You need to be giving and exploring it and letting people into the life of Ryan.
I thought you meant with flavor, just my physical
No,
flavor.
I meant like
Okay.
just
Okay.
you're for instance, I'm in cold Chicago, you're in warm Arizona. You should be showing us something for us to, and that's what Instagram is about.
Salty flavor.
Living through someone else. All right. So you should be applying that to your Instagram.
Oh, see, I'm a big mental health advocate, so I can't do that.
Oh, I think it's helpful. It'll be helpful because most of us aren't going to be that jealous of you. We just root for you to succeed. But anyway,
well, then what's the fun in that?
Because still, it's healthy. It's healthy for all of us to see that you're doing.
I want it to be unhealthy, where everyone's jealous, and then it's a problem. So I never should have done it in the first place.
Oh, while we're on it, how's the JLB down there going in Tempe?
No complaints for me. I mean, it doesn't
Still
necessarily sound as like a glowing review, but I'm settling into the job.
You're not horn? Are you still horn? Black horn?
They're making it hard. One has left, I believe.
The young one or the old one?
The old one.
Oh.
And the young one might not be far behind.
Why? What's going on with the young one? She's messing up.
I don't know if she's necessarily messing up, but we're not supposed to have much time off at all at this point.
Oh yeah, it's too early for time off.
And she took off some time, so I don't. She might be flirting that line. Right? Like
tiptoeing closer.
You know what? No. Why don't you take all the time you want and get the hell out of here?
You got to know the ledge. Shout out to Rakim. Look, I want to go off top.
Top?
Take it from the tippy. And listen, my off top is about yesterday. Yesterday was Martin Luther King's birthday. And it's a song, Ryan. I don't know if you know it. It's called King Holiday, right? And it goes like sing, sing, celebrate. And it's like it's a myriad of mid-'80s star entertainers who are on it, from New Edition without Bobby Brown, Houdini. And at first I thought Ecstasy, who died like 2 or 3 weeks ago, wasn't there. He shows up at the end, so he wasn't there during most of the recording. Run DMC without Run. It's just Jam Master Jay and DMC. Menudo loved the fact that they let those Latin brothers in so much. They are feeling everything about MLK in this song, right? You see Ricky Martin going for all of his, right? It's just like they love us too, right? Whitney Houston isn't there, but they video her and they put it over parts of it. The video, she's one of the main parts. Stephanie Mills. I forgot Donnie Simpson's brother from Kool in the Gang. He's on there, but it's a bunch of people that are on this song. And I remember when I was a kid that this song used to like make me feel good, but it also used to make me feel hopeful. You know, like that was one thing about it. Like I remember like being in the basement and listening to the MLK songs, and because they're good. MLK got some tracks out here in the hood. If you don't know it, right? You got about 3 of them. There's like you got 2 or 3 of them. There's definitely fantastic. And
as it should be.
As he should be. And his son is in the video too. His son's in the video too. And his son looks like a G in this video, right? Like he looks yoked up, you know, like the tight 80s sweaters fitting correctly. You know what I'm saying? And everything's fun. I mean, everything's nice. And I just remember like, man, back when this stuff used to come on, I used to feel a certain kind of way. And I thought yesterday about that. And hope was one of them. And I said, well, do you still feel the same way? And do you feel ignorant in a not knowing way that you felt that way with what life is today? You know, it took place last week the week before, I should say, 2 weeks ago at the Capitol building. And this is one part. I'm not just trying to base everything on that, but just thinking that I did think in my lifetime that I was going to see a black president. I wasn't a person that thought I wasn't going to see a black president. I thought it was going to happen in my lifetime. So that took place, and that shouldn't be a earmark, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we got a half black in there. It shouldn't. It shouldn't.
Definitely better not be the end of the list.
Yeah. Okie dokie.
All right, life's over.
It's funny. We were talking about you a little bit yesterday. We were watching Biden. We were doing a little bit of political stuff with the kids, and after was just like, yeah, she was just like, just think about how all those other people they ran and how they never had a chance. And I was like, yeah, we should tell, right. She was like, just how diverse they were, and like it was like, yeah, like it had to be Biden because you wasn't getting 70-something million people if it was going to be Pete, Kamala,
Yang.
Yeah, it's just like you were too socialist.
We went through an Andrew Yang period for like a half minute.
A super socialist and a timid socialist, like you were. Especially when you see that Donald Trump had 70 million people jump outside for him.
Klobuchar saying one crazy thing after another.
It wasn't going to happen.
Warren coming from like the National Cherokee Association. I've got the ticket. Look at the ticket.
Bernie wanted to go just full socialism, which I'm not out here saying like I'm against. Some things should be socialized. Healthcare, education, those things we shouldn't have to break your neck to pay for. To get good healthcare and to get good education. Now, if you want to put a premium on them and go to the even better schools or even better hospital, that's cool. I would say that you should still have that. But for the most part, we should all be guaranteed those things, paying the amount of money that we pay with our taxes. But getting back to the MLK holiday, I think about my friends, some of my friends who are like, man, fuck all of them, right? Just like they don't love us, right? And that's a part of me, but a part of me usually is still optimistic. And I wonder if I'm being a weirdo and having that hope in me still at this age. I don't have the same hope that I had back in the 80s when those songs used to come on. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm an adult and I've been hardened, you know. But I just wonder if I should even teach my kids to have, I'm not to teach them, but allow them, I guess, to have that idealism with, you know, the fact that we still see that so many people don't want us to be equal still to this day in 2021, you know, and that's when that song came on that I was really thinking about how I felt 30 years ago, compared to how I feel today. And I still have hope, but I like I said, I don't know if it's misplaced. And that was what I was thinking. And I mean, I don't have as much hope as I used to when things are just still and we can let ourselves, you know, just because this is a country, we let ourselves fall for the okie doke. You know what I'm saying? That really takes away some of the hope that I had as a youth, to say the least, when it came to Martin Luther King's holiday. You know what I'm saying? And just also thinking about what you know, thinking about what Martin Luther King really stood for compared to like how they use him as a Hallmark card now. You know what I'm saying? You're thinking about the fact that he was the most hated man in America. And we watched the movie last night, the In Miami movie. I don't know if it's a Long Night in Miami. After Taffy.
Talking about Selma, right?
No. Taffy. 1 second. What was the movie we watched last night?
Let's get the third producer on the line.
Thank you. One Night in Miami. I just want to get it correct. We watched One Night in Miami, which a friend of mine on Facebook, she was like, it was a snore fest. I really enjoyed it. That's the movie with you have Malcolm X, you have Cassius Clay before when he's transitioning to Muhammad Ali. You have Sam Cooke from Chicago. Shout out to Sam Cooke. And you have Jim Brown. You know what I'm saying? And I enjoyed the movie. We enjoyed the movie.
Was Kareem there?
No, Kareem wasn't there. Okay. It was this is after Ryan, and you would know. This is right after the beginning of the thing. Basically, is the Sonny Liston fight when Muhammad Ali takes the belt. So they're in Miami for the fight, and then they hang out the night that he wins it. And you know what I'm saying? Now, I thought this is the funny part. I don't want to ruin too much of the movie. my first thought was like, dog, you had some lookers in there. Like these are some alpha males, and there's no women around. And at one point, Jim Brown's basically like, "Where's the vagina?" Right? And I'm just like, I hope y'all address that because that would definitely crossed my mind looking at the previews of this movie. Right? Sam
What
Cooke,
in the hell were we thinking not having a girl come along?
right? Sam Cooke and Jim Brown, a little bit of Cassius Clay was like, "All right, man, we do want to get into these streets." All right, like, right? Mama Lily's like, "Look at me, I'm pretty." But yeah, I
You see this
enjoyed.
belt?
Right. I enjoyed the movie. But and the crazy thing too, and sticking with that, just looking at how that took place in 1964. Malcolm X dies in 1965. I think John Kennedy was assassinated, is what I should say, instead of died. In 63. I think King went down in 65 too, and then Bobby probably dies in 66 or 67. And to think just about how important it was to kill these four men. I mean, just really just because this wasn't accidentally. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know what I'm saying? It's all just on a humbug. These guys got killed, right?
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? And, you know, just to sit there and look at history in that aspect of a glimpse into the past, it makes you kind of evaluate how far you've come in the present, you know, and we've come far, but it's still like a boots on the neck. You know, so it's like we got, you know, it's not pushing you, it's not curb stomping you, but it's still like, and that was just one of the things that went through my mind on Martin Luther King's birthday yesterday is how far have we come, and during my lifetime in this short span that I've been here on this planet, and thinking about my kids moving forward. And should they have the same optimism that I had when I was their age, or I guess Kenton's age, I should say, a little bit younger than Kenton, actually, since Kenton's 11. If I should have this, if they should have the same optimism that I had for the future of this country, like I said, 30 odd years ago. But that was it.
Do you? Because I feel like there's plenty of reason for not optimism. Being in Arizona with MLK Day, kind of a weird place.
Did you get off yesterday? I want to ask you that. Were you off yesterday?
I was off.
All right, because anybody doesn't
Not
know
everybody.
the history.
Not everybody.
The history.
Though.
Arizona back in the 90s, I believe, wanted to throw out Martin Luther King's birthday. Public Enemy has a terrific song back then called "When I Get to Arizona," but that was.
And then the Shield came in and decided we would take away an NFL franchise if you take away MLK Day. They're like, you know what? We like that black guy.
You know, and it's kind of. I mean, and when you think of, and as a kid, it was like, damn, you don't even want a day off. Like, I don't even get a day off for it, technically. Like, and this year they hit us with a service day, and historically, I'll say this too: if anybody knows anybody that's in any fraternities or sororities, particularly, King's Holiday is a service day. It's usually a day where people will do service as far as charity work, community work. His day is typically that, but I'll be damned if you tell me what to do on the only black holiday that's on this calendar. All right. I'll be damned. That's like, I'll be But go ahead. So as far as talking about you down there in Tempe,
I guess like how you talk about the riots on the Capitol Hill, like that was a very specific skin color doing all of that work. But I also was wondering, like, just this past summer with the George Floyd protests, like, I don't want to go, like, crazy, but it's like, it was a rainbow in a way. And I think that gave me a little bit of hope for this last Martin Luther King. Like, I definitely expected, I didn't expect as many of just all the representatives that were out there this summer. Like, of course, I expected the people that did what they did on the Capitol Hill. That's not surprising, and that's still the problem, and that's why I could see why you would have pessimism, because there was also basically, even though Biden got more votes, I mean, it wasn't like he crushed them in votes, like what we would have all
I think he's
personally wanted.
He won by one of the largest margins, I think, as far as 7 million.
But remember how, like, after, even though we didn't know the election fully results, like, everybody was just like, man, look at that. Same amount of people basically.
I mean, he had the
voted
second amount. He had the second highest amount ever
Right.
in Donald Trump. So I get your point as far as saying that 70
Yeah.
million people still came out and was like, you know what? I like this.
Right. So
Right.
there's still that pessimism there. But I don't know. I guess just seeing over the summer how many people were actually like, I went to a few protests where you could say it was all white, basically. I mean, it was very few minority representatives within this particular, protest of George
Where was the
Floyd, or
protest
just
at?
my hometown,
Okay.
Sugar
Okay.
Grove, baby.
Okay.
So those kind of things fill me with some hope, at least.
Okay. I'll take that. And I'm happy you said that because when you brought up it was a diverse group that came out for George Floyd. That's very true. You know what I'm saying? Even you saw them showing up in Inglewood, and some of the residents was like, "Slow down now." But you're right that should give us more hope that there's more people, and still, Joe Biden got 70-something. I mean, we got half of the country about that.
And I think it's
a little
growing,
bit more.
it's not like it's capped. It's like, oh, we got half and that's it. Let's see if we can hold on to that half.
The only thing is when you have a fulcrum like you had in 1600 Pennsylvania, I feel that a lot of times we say that those people are dying off. But when you have that point, all right, it grows the youth of the ops again in a way, because now it gives them something new to say, hey, you can work, kiddo. Look at, so that's still something. But still, I just wanted to point that out, and I don't want to spend the whole show discussing it. And it's a flip topic. And also, we're going to do an interview coming up probably this week with a writer for the Crusader Chicago, a journalist rather, Jason Palmer. He's also one of the hosts of What's Up Cuz with Lance Irvin, the head coach of Chicago State basketball. He also does investigation. He's done a lot when it comes to what took place in the Capitol building, exposing a lot of those people. And I want to have a discussion with him about it. So we're going to do that interview sometime this week. So just stay tuned to check out that interview. But let's get into some sports because it is what we do on this show. And particularly, I want to talk about, we had JJ Stankovic on, but I didn't get a chance to talk to Ryan about the Bears in the press conference last week and also really just do our full season wrap up. And I wanted to do that on this show and not have anybody on here to get all of Ryan's thoughts. So Ryan, when you saw George McCaskey, Ted Phillips, Ryan Pace, and Matt Nagy come out last week and give their excuses, what were your thoughts?
Boy, definitely didn't feel particularly good about anything. And I guess going into it, knowing that everybody was safe except for Mitch, or at least hopefully Mitch, you weren't going to really get, I think, many answers that made a lot of sense. And you hit it on the head with JJ, just how, arrogant and smug Ted Phillips was. I was kind of hoping, maybe that was the one thing, Ted is stepping down and he's going to retire, so we need to find a new president of football ops. Maybe George is like, give me one more year because I don't want to fire these people, and they let go of Ryan after another year. But it's funny how they just talk about culture and how everyone was still together during the 6-game losing streak and all this stuff. And it's just they just haven't learned anything, this ownership, at all. It's all about the quarterback position. And what has Ryan Pace done there? He signed Mike Glennon, he's traded for Nick Foles, and he's drafted Mitch. And that's it. That's only 3 things he's done in 6 years. And if you ever want to be tied with those franchises that you ask help from, like the Giants, the Cardinals, or you want to be like the Steelers, you want to start being like some of these teams, you got to get a quarterback. Look at the Final Four. I mean, every team has a quarterback that can do something. Look at even the week before this past weekend in the divisional round. Basically, every team had a quarterback that can do something, and the difference is the weapons and the rest of the team around that quarterback. But you ain't going anywhere without a quarterback. And now you have to trust Ryan Pace to find that guy, and I don't know what Ted or George has seen that just is like, oh, Ryan will get it right. I mean, anybody, I guess, could draft the next Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers or something like that. He can get lucky and get the right guy and then maybe save his job or something like that. But I'm just a little bit tired of the Bears' old lucky GM strategy rather than having a good GM strategy.
Yeah,
That was my opinion.
You know, that's that. I think that hits it on the head saying lucky GM. And I would take it the point that you're trying to make is the fact that we don't view our GM as being shrewd and being someone that necessarily you entrust like he's going to get it. Even though Ryan Pace had a terrific draft this past year, right? But we don't look at him like, man, we got Ryan Pace. You know what I'm saying? And it's usually like, man, if he lucks up on someone, he lucked up on him, not due to the skill that he has. This is what we expect from him. That's a good one when you say that lucky GM strategy. I feel the same way. And in particular, my thing was with George McCaskey and talking to JJ, and JJ talked about how he's really unpretentious, George McCaskey, to be a billionaire. And he drives around in this Honda, this blue Honda. He doesn't show up in the you know what I'm saying, the Wraith. Even though it would be wild to see George McCaskey show up with the Wraith, with the stars in the ceiling, like, what the fuck y'all do? And you thought I wasn't? But, and that's cool. That's cool because when I asked him the question about how he had the lesser office between Ted Phillips and Ryan Pace, and he was just like, he's a real, as close to an owner could be a regular person. That's what George McCaskey is. And like, I don't know how much you remember of Michael McCaskey. Now, Michael McCaskey was different.
Very little.
He would show up in the Wraith, and and again, maybe he would, but Michael McCaskey gave the air of wealth when he was on. Like he was the epitome of what a wasp is. Like you could see him in the Hamptons. All right, like that was Michael McCaskey. Like Michael McCaskey, man, growing up, it was like, right, like he was a bit. He came off a bit jerky to say, and George doesn't. I hate to say that about his brother. And rest in peace, Michael McCaskey.
Where my white Anglos at?
But the thing is, when I'm bringing up George McCaskey, is he mentioned self-reflection a lot when it came to Ryan Pace and the Matt Nagy. And the question I asked JJ, and I believe he said that he answered it on Waddle and Sylvie, was where's your self-reflection at when you look at? Because JJ had asked him, when you take in the last 20 years. And the amount of success you haven't had, how do you necessarily decide and judge what you should do moving forward, basically, in particular between your general manager and your head coach? And Michael McCaskey said he doesn't view it like that. He did use it on a personal note. So he's not putting, Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy in looking at them through 20 years. He's looking at through the time frame that they've been operating in the Bears administration. But my thing is, how does Michael McCaskey self-reflect on himself with what you were saying? I mean, why is it your franchise historically has been the worst franchise when it comes to drafting a quarterback? I mean, or having a quarterback. Let's not even say drafting, because like you mentioned, like, because the Bidwells aren't like better than the Bears to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just tell me, the Rooneys and even the Maras, but the Maras, they stole 2 Super Bowls. All right. It wasn't like they snuck in and they did what you're supposed to do. All right. They got into the tournament and they just stole it, right? In a great way, you know what I'm saying? Outside of when they won during the Bill Parcells era in the late 80s and early 90s. But those two families I get, but the Bidwells is like, yeah, okay now. But they still, you know what I'm saying, you can look at the fact of when they brought in Carson Palmer, Kurt Warner, you know what I'm saying? They still had quarterbacks that through free agency or trades that they brought in that took them far to a certain degree, particularly Kurt Warner. And that's something that the Bears haven't done whatsoever. And it's like what you were saying, when do you look at yourself and try to analyze why you haven't done it? And that's what he should do. Well, George McCaskey should look at it as, yes, it is the people that I hire, but part of it has to be with me. Either I don't know or I need to hire someone else. And I don't even mean hire someone else necessarily to take Ryan's Pace job, which you kind of alluded to be a head of football operations. I need to hire someone else who, and I sometimes I shouldn't hate this, but when someone was like a football guy, but it is a football guy. You know what I'm saying? That, you know what, when we get to, we may have Matt Nagy, we may have Ryan Pace, but then when we get to, i.e. so-and-so, he can self-correct some of the things that they do and be like, hold on, that's a good idea, but you need to change this like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, go ahead.
I think part of that is the Ted Phillips thing, how he's bringing up culture and bringing up how the teams are envious of what we have. That's where a football guy, I think, comes in and is just like, George, listen, we got a pretty nice little culture here. I like the synergy we have between Ryan and Matt, but we're not winning.
Right.
We're not winning. Like, take this culture and wipe it and then flush it down. Like, it's great to have a great culture, but if it doesn't produce any type of winning, that's where you want like a football ops person that has the ear of the owner to be like, yo, this ain't, we got to make some changes here.
Facts, to say the least. So that was my thoughts on that. We'll do more Bears discussion, getting closer to the draft. We definitely got to talk about our guy Trey Lance because I think he's in play. It seems like when I see he may get picked right before the Bears pick, but it seems like he's in play. So I'm definitely interested in that because if you asked us, Ryan and myself, a year ago, they weren't going to be able to get him. And now when you look at Zach Wilson, Trask, and even Mac Jones to a degree, that there's a chance that we can get our guy Trey Lance. But what if he's not the one? We get Trey Lance, he's a bust. Like, damn it. That's what we want to. But listen, speaking of quarterbacks, speaking of quarterbacks alone, black quarterbacks, I did want to talk about one black quarterback in particular, and that was Lamar Jackson. I see Rex Grossman on Get Up. I see a myriad of people talk about the fact that let Lamar be Lamar. And my first reaction is no when I see it. And I question myself and like, man, maybe I'm wrong. I get what they're saying is right now, let him be the full who he is right now to get you as far as you can possibly get. Maybe you can luck into a Super Bowl. But that's not going to happen. And particularly with Patrick Mahomes. And now, to be honest with you, with Josh Allen. You know what I'm saying? As far as how many points they can put up. Like with these teams that can average easily 30 points, the chances that happen are getting minute. Not to say he can't luck and get on a hot run, but Greg Roman, offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, something has to change. John Harbaugh, something has to change. You have like this offseason, and I know things. It would be interesting to see how this offseason is compared to last through the pandemic. You have to make sure he can win from the pocket, and that the running part is a plus instead of a necessity. I'm still not saying to have design run plays. You should, with his skill set, you should have design run plays. I mean, listen, Buffalo with Josh Allen, they have design run plays. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what I'm saying. And not to say he has to be what Josh Allen is right now, but you're not going to consistently win because of his gift. Basically, by his second read, he's ready to go. Because a lot of times, and this is one of the things that I was saying on the text thread, he has to run to open up the throw. And I'm not saying that in particularly just saying that his running opens up throwing as far as if he moves the chains and gets first down. I'm saying it as far as getting him out with his head still up, looking down the field using his run. Like that has to be usually what he does for the most part instead of just taking off, because he has to go through all of his progressions and also wait to find out if a guy's going to get open and give him a chance because the pocket is clean. And that's the thing that has to take place with Lamar Jackson to get him to the next level. You can't just sit there and always accentuate the fact that he's a supreme, one of the greatest athletes to ever play football, definitely from the quarterback position. You have to get him throwing from the pocket consistently. And also, let me just say this too. You need an X and a Y. I'm a Hollywood Brown guy. I like when they drafted him. That should be your slot guy. I like Cole Beasley for those years that he was down in Dallas. He should be your fourth receiver, basically. You know, like you need two large radius guys, catch radius guys, two of them, all right, to make up if Lamar's inaccurate, but also just allow Lamar to throw 50-50 balls. You need two. You need Dez Bryant 6 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to get him. Listen, I like your tight end situation, right? But you got to get him two bona fide studs at receiver. Look at just look at Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? Just like you have to get him that. And you're not going to succeed until you have him winning from the pocket, but also making it easier because he has receivers that can cover up for any mistakes, or just because they're just studs, he knows if he puts the ball up high, this high, those guys are going to be able to come down with the ball consistently. That's the only way Baltimore is going to consistently threaten the AFC outside of just having like a couple hot years or 3 or 4 hot years during Lamar Jackson's run. Because what's going to happen is he's going to learn how to throw when he can't run anymore. And you don't need to do that. You need to teach him how to win from the pocket. I shouldn't say learn how to throw. You need to teach him how to win for the pocket while he can still have his athleticism, and then you can really exploit teams' defenses.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything you're saying. And, especially with quarterback play, like this is memo to the Bears if you're not already listening. Like that's why quarterback play matters so much more. This is already a quarterback-driven league. But when you get to the playoffs, it's all about the missed throws, not necessarily interceptions, not necessarily, like you just didn't read it right. It's like you see it, you throw it, and you miss. And when you have those mistakes in the playoffs, they start compiling. And that's usually the difference, besides things like turnovers and penalties and idiotic play. But if let's say you got two teams that are both really talented, both really competing, everything's about the same, it's going to come down to, does your quarterback execute overall better than my quarterback that executed overall? And with Lamar, I just don't know if he's going to out-execute a Josh Allen or a Patrick Mahomes or some of these quarterbacks that just seemingly can make these terrific downfield throws pretty consistently versus Lamar, who can do that sometimes. But like you said, he's really a quarterback that's built on getting that run, getting that edge, getting defenses to suck down into those short passing game, into the box potentially, if you will, to slow down the run. And that's where it leaves over the top more exposed. But if he's not going to hit it, what's going to be the difference? So I think, like you said, they got to get Lamar to be better from the pocket. Maybe they got to shift their scheme a little bit more. I would love, like you said, he's got to get more Russell Wilson in this game. Keep that running, keep that amazing ability, but keep your head up and try to make some more plays downfield when you're running around in the backfield trying to do some stuff. Because if he doesn't add, I think, another element to his game as a thrower, whether that's throwing on the run, doing a Russell Wilson routine, or being more Tom Brady-esque where he can just be in the pocket and sling it around. Oof, that AFC's got a lot of good quarterbacks you got to go through. You got to go through a lot, and that's just the beginning, Like, who knows who's coming in with Trevor Lawrence? He's going to be with the Jags. Maybe they turn that around quick. Who the heck knows? The Jets have Justin Fields. You've got that, and on top of it, Mahomes, Josh Allen.
You got the Patriots may take a quarterback, like what you're saying. I think you made some great points in that what you were saying, and it's just the truth. And I mean, I'm a Lamar Jackson fan. I was happy he finally got his first playoff win, but you can't, like, we've seen this already. We've seen this movie too many times where we wait till the black quarterback isn't athletic. Listen, where Randall Cunningham is out cutting marble or slabs out in Vegas with his company, and then comes back to the Vikings, and he's not Eagles Randall Cunningham. He's just throwing it, And Randall had a phenomenal arm. Phenomenal. If you ever saw the old QB competitions, Randall Cunningham used to slay those bad boys. But yeah, that's what you have to get. And your point of the playoffs is about missed throws was a great point. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we see it all the time. You saw it. Listen, you saw it in the Kansas City Cleveland Brown game.
Cleveland, yeah.
Where the missed throws, and Baker had a good game for the most part, but the missed throws is what bit them in the butt, basically, because they should have won. Once Patrick Mahomes went out, they should have won that game. There's no way Chad Henne you, right? It's no, like,
when he threw that pick.
Well, like, yeah, when he threw that pick, it was like, damn, that is Chad Henne.
That right? Looked like Andy Reid doing the punt pass challenge. Right. Like, he's just like, let me punt this for you real quick.
But all right. Yeah, let's go to the best segment of the show, of course, and that is, and this is That David Show. I should have said that first. I'm Kenneth Davidson. That's Ryan Bukoveski. Let's go to Ryan's segment, and that is Up for Grabs. Ryan, what you got for me?
I got 2 questions, both playoff football related. We'll look back and then look forward. What was your favorite game of the weekend?
Oh, it's no doubt. It was the Kansas City game. because it was like you're watching. You know how I feel about Baby Goat. All right, that's my dude. Listen, it's funny, Joe. Side note. Patrick Mahomes on the screen. And I said to after, and this was before the game. I said, "Who was?" It was maybe it was a Allstate commercial. I said, "Who was that?" And she was like, oh, "Patrick Mahomes." I said, "What's his nickname?" She said, oh, "The nickname I believe you gave to him was Baby Goat." Right. So anyway, for Patrick Mahomes, and listen, I knew he wasn't going to make that. When his big toe was hurt, I was like, he's not finishing this game. I was like, damn it, because that's the only. I think injury is the only thing that's going to stop Patrick Mahomes from consistently getting to at least the AFC Championship, if not the Super Bowl. And I'm saying in a way that he's going to get nicked up sometimes. Like that's kind of, you can kind of read the tea leaves a little bit, and I love him to death. But he's going to get nicked up sometimes. I just think that's part of it. I think he needs to tighten up a little bit. He's got a little looseness to him. He may needs to just tighten up just a little bit. And he's just too freaky on top of that. He's a Ferrari. It's in a way, it's like Derrick Rose. And I hate to say it, I knew Derrick Rose was going to get hurt. Because it was like, yeah. And it's like when you got a Ferrari and you crash a Ferrari, you just can't put that back together like you got a ton of GM parts lying around and fix it. It's handcrafted. So it's just,
and you see that Ferrari with those like winding hills, you're just like, oh boy, those turns are going to be rough.
Exactly. But it was definitely that game for Chad Henne to come in and beat Baker Mayfield. Oh my goodness, it was sweet. Listen, Andy Reid in that last play, and maybe it was Eric Bieniemy. I don't want to take away from that brother, but to sit there and go with throwing it in the flat to Tyreek Hill, and then for him to lay down the way he did when he got the first down. Oh, it was. That was what you want, because in a way it wasn't like a high-scoring football game, but that's what we're here for. You know what I'm saying? In a playoff game, your backup QB in, you got the greatest physically gifted quarterback of all time in his fifth season, basically, and Patrick Mahomes going out, who had an off game because he couldn't step into his throws because of his foot, and then gets concussed. That was sweet. What about you, Ryan? What was your game that you enjoyed the most this past weekend?
Yeah, that would probably be my number one as well. But to go to a different route, I don't know. Something about this Bills team. I like this Bills team with Josh Allen and the group that they have. And maybe it was the fact that I just kind of remember randomly earlier in the year, the Bills had one of the worst defenses in football at one point. I mean, they just couldn't stop anybody. And with their head coach, who I'm blanking on, I believe it's Sean Murphy. I think I might have gotten that wrong. But he is the defensive whiz from the Andy Reid coaching tree. And so he's the guy that did some really good stuff with Andy. McDermott, there it is. And then he did a lot of good stuff with Andy Reid, and he comes in, he figures out this Bills defense, and they absolutely shut down those Ravens. Now, Lamar definitely helped them, and especially with that pick six, that was really the big difference. But I like this Bills team. I don't know what it is about them.
Well, remember going to this year, their defense was looked at as one of their best assets coming off
right.
of that season.
And there was a point in time where they completely fell off, and he's got them rolling all over again.
Definitely. I mean, you know, I'm a Josh Allen guy. So, and if you think about that game last year in the playoffs against Houston, where the first half they played well, and then he was out there with, like a chicken with his head cut off in the second half, and how well he progressed this year. And he's not throwing in the luck; he's throwing off of, I know this is the play, and this guy should be here at this time. On top of that, adding Stephon Diggs to the offense, it's been special to say the least.
Shout out to Hub. My last question here. Looking forward now to this weekend. Which game are you mostly looking forward to, or which game are you anticipating?
Man, that's a good one from both championship games. Listen, I'll tell you this: if
Let's assume
Chad Henne has to start,
is healthy.
Let's assume that. Healthy. I'm still even if he's healthy, I'd be lying if I say I'm probably not looking to Geezer Bowl 2. All right, as far as, and I mean, I don't want to say that, you know, Aaron Rodgers is a geezer. He's just 37 years old. But still, when you had Geezer Bowl 1, Drew Brees versus Tom Brady, I'm looking forward to Tom Brady, especially that. Listen, that when Green Bay went down there to Tampa this season, and that game unraveled in like 6 minutes.
Oh my gosh! It was
and Aaron Rodgers
immediately.
Aaron Rodgers was looking around like, oh my God, what's going on? I'm looking forward to him getting his revenge against Tom Brady and them coming to Lambeau. So I have to say that the NFC championship game is probably what I'm most looking forward to because I want Aaron Rodgers to get to the Super Bowl again. If not alone, to be honest with you, I want him to win it. And because I think Patrick Mahomes is going to have several more chances to win a Super Bowl. I want Aaron Rodgers to have at least 2 Super Bowls, and then I can opine for him being the GOAT until Patrick Mahomes takes it from him.
I'd rather Tom get 7 than see him get 2.
Damn, that's some hate.
Yeah.
Is that Green Bay hate or Aaron Rodgers hate?
Green Bay. I like Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Sorry. Don't get drafted by the team I don't want you to get drafted by.
Or don't fall in the draft, remember? Like, everyone could have drafted him.
I know.
All right? Don't fall in the draft. You know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to Alex Smith going number 1 that year.
And the 49ers.
Or the 49ers, who he wanted to go to being a California kid, Aaron Rodgers. Shout out to the 49ers making that decision. But again, he was a Cal guy. Cal guys didn't work in the NFL at that time. So it is what it is.
See, I'm feeling the Bills this year. I wouldn't mind seeing the Bills. I think it'd be a great story, too, after losing, 4 in a row in the late 90s? Like, They deserve one. They got to get one.
I don't know how I feel about Bills Mafia all the way, even though I like the charity contribution.
Yeah, there might be some red and white in there.
Yeah, I feel like Bills Mafia was at the Capitol 2 weeks ago a little bit, right? I feel like you may have had a couple of Bill Mafia guys down there. So I'm not necessarily sure. So I'm like, cool.
That might be profiling. He might be profiling on Bill Mafia.
You're right. I apologize, Bill Mafia. I shouldn't be profiling you all. You know you was at the Capitol.
Even though.
All right. Listen, definitely, like I said, we'll probably be bringing your interview this week. We'll be back with the flip. Ryan, did you want to add anything before we go?
No, I don't believe so. Not right now. I will hold it for the next time.
We always appreciate you taking some time out of your day to hang out with Ryan and myself, and we look forward to doing it moving forward. But just definitely stay safe and don't do anything crazy before you hear from us again.